Good morning everyone. As I told you yesterday, today we are going to start with another section, first chapter, that is electrostatics. Chapter number 8 from your textbook. Chapter will be there for 4 marks without option and for 6 marks with option. So splitting may be like 4 plus 2 or 2 plus 2 plus 2 or 3 plus 2 plus 1. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about few concepts, but before that we have to go through basic concepts which we already studied in standard 11, like what is charge, what are their properties, what is Coulomb's law, what is its vector form, what are the types of Coulomb's law, then Gauss theorem, electric lines of forces, and much more, because we require that each and every value, each and every concept in this lecture in 12th standard. So today's lecture is on the basis of that all basic concepts which we already studied, but still we have to recoil, we have to remember that things. Fine. So let's start with that basic concepts and then from tomorrow move towards 12th standard ka syllabus. Okay, let's start. We are going to discuss few subparts in first lecture. We are going to discuss about electric charges. Then we are going to discuss about basic properties of that charges. Then what is quantization of charge. Then forces between charges and Coulomb's law with the definition of 1 Coulomb and its scalar and vector form. We are going to discuss this chapter in 3 subparts. So let's start with lecture number 1. First of all, we are going to discuss about introductory part. What is electric field? An electric field is a region of space in which an electric charge will experience a force. The direction of the field at a point in space is the direction in which a positive test charge would move if placed at that point. We know that generally electrostatics deals with the study of electric charges and charge systems at rest. Electrostatics deals with the static electric charges, the forces between them, and the effects produced in the form of electric fields and electric potentials. Current electricity, which plays a major role in our day-to-day life. It is produced by moving charges. Now, the first question occurs, what is electric charge? It is the quantity of electricity a body possesses. It is the amount by which the negative particles in a body exceed or less than the positive particles in it. Charges are present everywhere around us, through their presence can only be felt under special circumstances. Electric charge is produced due to friction between our body and some other particle or object. So when we consider these electric charges, they are given by Q is equal to N into QE or N into QP. As we all know that number of electrons and number of protons are always equal. That's why overall charge is, here we have that notification details, small n, number of excess electrons or excess protons, QE, charge on an electron, QP, charge of proton, capital Q, total amount of charge. Charge can be measured as Coulomb or stat Coulomb. The SI or MKS unit is Coulomb and the CGS unit is stat Coulomb for the charge. When we consider equal and opposite charges developed at that time, either they attract or repulse each other. Electric charge is a basic property of elementary particles of which matter is made of. These elementary particles are proton, neutron and electrons. Proton is considered as the positively charged, electron is considered as the negatively charged, and neutron is electrically neutral particle. We know that atomic nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons. Therefore, it is a positively charged field. Electrons surrounded the nucleus and which make that atom electrically neutral. Therefore, most matter around us is electrically neutral. Here there are few things related to electrons, protons or charge. 1 coulomb is 3 into 10 raised to 9 stat coulomb. 1 microcoulomb means 1 into 10 raised to minus 6 coulomb. 1 millicoulomb is 1 into 10 raised to minus 3 coulomb. If the number of protons is greater than number of electrons, the body is positively charged. If the number of electrons is greater than number of protons, the body is negatively charged. If the number of protons and electrons is going to be equal, the body is neutral or uncharged. When we consider something related to electric charge, at that time, charge of a material body or particle is the property due to which it produces and experiences electric and magnetic effects. Where do charges come from? We already had discussion on this. As matter is made up of atoms and atoms consist of proton, neutron and electron. Now, when we consider a charged body attracts or repels electrons in a conductor depending on whether the charge on the body is positive or negative respectively. As we all know that charges are of two types only. One is positive, one is negative. Like charges repels each other, but unlike charges attracts each other. Charges can be separated by other means as well, like chemical reaction, convections, diffusions, etc. If an uncharged conductor is brought near a charged body, the nearest side of the conductor develops opposite charge to that on the charged body, and the far side of conductor develops charge similar to that on charged body. This is called as induction. The induction happens because the electrons in the conductor are free and they can move easily in the presence of charged body. Let's start with basic properties of electric charges. We are going to discuss with two basic properties. One, additive nature of charge, and second one, quantization of charge. Then conservation of charge, and then force between charge. So here, let's move towards properties of charges. When we are going to consider conservation of charge, at that time, in an isolated system, sum of total charge remains constant whatever charge takes place in that system. For example, let's say, we know that when a glass rod is rubbed with silk, it becomes positively charged and the silk becomes negatively charged. The amount of positive charge on glass rod is found to be exactly same as the negative charge on silk. Thus, the system of glass rod and silk together possesses zero net change after rubbing on each other. In this, we can realize that in any given physical process, charge may get transferred from one part of the system to another, but total charge always remains constant. For an isolated system, total charge cannot be created nor destroyed. So, conservation of charge means the total charge of an isolated system is always conserved. The second part, when we are going to consider that basic additive nature of charge, electric charge is additive, similar to mass. The total electric charge on an object is equal to the algebraic sum of all electric charges distributed on different parts of that object. So when you consider atoms where the nucleus is positively charged and this charge is equal to the negative charge of electrons, making the atom electrically neutral, at that time we can compare that additive property of charge with that of mass. The masses of particles constituting an object are always positive, where according to charge, the charges distributed on different parts of the object may be positive or negative. The total mass of an object is always positive, whereas charge can be positive, 0 or negative 2. Charge is always associated with mass. Charge can't exist without mass, so mass can exist with charge. Charge is relativistically invariant. Charge is a scalar quantity. Charge at rest produces an electric field around itself. Charge moving with uniform velocity produces electric and magnetic field both. Accelerated charge emits electromagnetic radiations. These are a few basic properties related to charge. The third one is quantization of charge. Charge of a particle or a body is always an integral multiple of fundamental unit of electric charge. We can say that Q is equal to N into E, where E is charge on electron given by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. The minimum value of charge on an electron is given by this value. This is called as elementary charge. C, that is coulomb, is a unit of charge in SI system. Charge on an object can be increased or decreased in multiples of E only. It is because during the charging process, an integral number of electrons can be transferred from one body to another body. This is basically known as quantization of charge. When the number is tremendously large, the quantization of charge is not observed, but one usually observes a continuous variation of charge. In general, charge comes in integer multiples of E. The magnitude is given by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Charge of a system is integral multiple of basic electric charge on an electron or proton. The electric charge Q is said to be quantized, where Q is a standard symbol used for charge. Q is equal to plus or minus NE. N is an integer. E is the fundamental unit of charge. Value 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. For electron, Q is equal to minus E because of negative charge, and for proton, Q is equal to plus E because of positive charge. So this is all about basic properties of electric charges like additive nature, quantization of charge, conservation of charge, and forces between charges. Now we are going through the core part, the most important question, that is Coulomb's law. This question might be there for 2 or 3 marks. State and explain Coulomb's law either with its scalar form or directly question comes for the vector form of Coulomb's law. The statement: the force of attraction or repulsion between 2 point charges at rest is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. This force acts along the line joining between 2 charges. The mathematical form is given by F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square, and vector form is given by vector F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square into vector R12. Coulomb's law describes the electrostatic force between two point charges and can be stated as, we already had discussion on this. Now, if we consider the forces between the two charges will be attractive if they are unlike, means one is positive and one is negative. The force will be repulsive if charges are similar, both positive or both negative. Now, when we consider this law, F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square, where that epsilon naught is permittivity of medium or dielectric constant. Now, let's have discussion on that part. What is dielectric constant, or what do you mean by permittivity? When we consider Coulomb's law at that time, F will become 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square, where that epsilon is called the absolute permittivity of the medium. Let us consider that force for two different mediums. One is for vacuum and one is for medium. When you consider for vacuum, let's consider 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square. But for medium, let's take 1 upon 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 upon R square. So when you consider this, at that time the ratio of these forces, that is F vacuum for F medium, becomes epsilon upon epsilon naught. This ratio is called as dielectric constant of medium or relative permittivity. When we consider this relative permittivity, it is the ratio of same quantities. That's why it is the dimensionless quantity. When a material medium reduces the force between charges by a factor of relative permittivity, that is called as the relative permittivity, or that is called as the component of its relative permittivity. The medium can be homogeneous, isotropic, or infinitely large according to the value of this permittivity. Let's move towards vector form of the Coulomb's law. Here you can see Q1 and Q2 are two similar point charges situated at two different points. R21 is the difference in between them. F12 and F21 are forces exerted on that particular charges. Now, F21 and F12 having different values. For F12 we can write 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R12 square into R cap 12. Or for F21 we can say 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R21 square into R cap 21, where R cap 21 and R cap 12 are oppositely directed unit vectors. So R12 is equal to minus R cap 21. These two charges experiences force of equal magnitude and opposite direction. These two forces form an action-reaction pair. And when we consider this vector form, it is given by, in short, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square into R12 bar. So when we consider these things at that time, the value of force between two point charges Q1 and Q2 separated by distance R is given by F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square. When we consider this value at that time, the charge occurs over here is Q1 Q2, that is product of two charges. Now we know the value of permittivity, that is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. And if I consider Q1 and Q2 both are 1 coulomb, then F will become 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. From these things, let me repeat, we consider epsilon naught as 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. We consider Q1 and Q2 both are 1 coulomb. We consider R is equal to 1 meter. Then after substituting these all values, F will become 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. In this way, we can define the value of 1 coulomb. 1 coulomb is the amount of charge which, when placed at a distance of 1 meter from another charge of the same magnitude in vacuum, experiences a force of 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. देखो क्या बोला गया है, जब कोई चार्ज एक चार्ज से दूसरे चार्ज पे 1 मीटर पे प्लेस है, जिसके ऊपर फोर्स लगाया गया है 9 into 10 raised to 9, at that time वहाँ पे जो चार्ज होगा that is called as 1 coulomb. 1 coulomb is the amount of charge which, when placed at a distance of 1 meter from another and experiences a force of 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. The condition is both charges are of same magnitude in vacuum. That is called as 1. Over here, that is electric flux. The number of lines of forces per unit area. If I consider number of lines of forces and area, then electric field intensity is given by E is equal to same formula, number of lines of forces divided by area. Now how to calculate number of lines of forces? Then it is E into area. Here you can say that यहाँ पे एक इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड बन रहा है, हमने क्या कंसिडर किया, नंबर ऑफ लाइन्स ऑफ फोर्सेस, इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी, एरिया एंड एंगल बिटवीन E and S. So number of lines of forces are given by E into area. If we consider the angle between them is theta, then electric flux passing through this area is given by d phi. We are going to consider. Then it is E into, along with E, the component of ds becomes ds cos theta. If you join this, then along with E, ये component क्या बन जाएगा, ds cos theta. So it will become d phi is equal to E dot ds. E dot ds as a dot product is E ds cos theta. If you consider for a whole surface, then phi becomes integration of this small value, that is E dot s. SI unit E का है volt per meter, S का meter square. So 1 meter, another meter gets cancelled. Remaining term volt meter. So इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का मतलब हो गया फोर्स पर यूनिट चार्ज, एंड इलेक्ट्रिक फ्लक्स का मतलब हो गया नंबर ऑफ लाइंस ऑफ फोर्सेस पर यूनिट एरिया. इसको मार्क करके रखना है ES और EDS cos थीटा, यूनिट है वोल्ट मीटर. So in this way we have discussion on what is electric field, what is electric field intensity, then electric field intensity due to the point charge for the parallel plate object. Then we had discussion on lines of forces, their properties, characteristics. Then we had discussed electric flux. So let's stop here for today. In next lecture we are going to start with Gauss theorem, statement, applications, and then we'll move towards the point charge intensity and all. I hope you understood this till this point. Thank you.